Have you ever removed the guard from your beard trimmer only to shave a big hole in your beard by accident? Well, I did that just last week. But that is not what we're here to talk about today. Instead, let's talk about the Xvive A58 guitar wireless system. What is it? It's a wireless system. I just said that. How does it work? Let's not kid ourselves. I have no idea. It somehow mysteriously sends your guitar signal through the air to your amplifier. I can't explain it. Alright Nathan, so what's in the box? Well, what we have is a little product brochure, some stickers, a warranty card, of course the manual, and then the main ingredient, which is a pouch that contains the receiver, the transmitter, and a charging cable. Before we go any further, I do want to say that Xvive sent me this wireless system to try out for free, but they're not paying me anything or telling me to say anything in particular. Alright, now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to be honest, the only other experience I've had with a wireless system is the review I did of the Lakato WS100 system. If you're interested, you can click on the link in the upper part of the screen to watch that video, but as I go through the specs of the Xvive system, I'm going to be referring to the Lakato system periodically and making some comparisons just because it's the only baseline I have. Right off the bat, this thing costs $150, which seems about average. The Lakato system I referred to earlier only costs $50, but I'll let you be the judge as to whether or not this is worth that cost. It operates on a 5.8 gigahertz frequency, which is pretty common. The other common one is 2.4 gigahertz. The only issue with that one is it's pretty crowded. A lot of times Wi-Fi or other wireless systems are on that frequency, so you may get some dropout and interference, where the benefit of this one is 5.8 gigahertz is less crowded. The audio quality is 24-bit, 48 kilohertz, which is typical of like Apple lossless or WAV formats, so it's pretty good. The system has 5 hours of battery life, which is pretty average. It takes about 2.5 hours to charge, and you can use just your typical 5-volt 2-amp charger, which you probably have around your house. It's the one that you use to charge your phone or tablet. Now it does have a power indicating light, which is a really cool feature. Like if it's green, you have full charge. If it's yellow, less. I can't remember the range, which the manual obviously tells you that, but then it goes to red and red blinking, which is a really good feature. Like I said, comparing it again to the Lakato system, that one only had a red light to tell you had a low battery, but there was no indication about how long you had left. So it might have come on when you had 10% battery, maybe you're in the middle of a song and now you're just out of luck. Whereas the Xvive system, if it starts going yellow, you can probably finish your song or your set maybe before you have to swap out the the receiver transmitter or for a different system, or grab a cable, whatever it is. It just gives you an indication of what's coming. The other sort of standout feature of this system is that it has a removable battery. In other words, instead of just throwing it in the trash or buying a new system, you could actually get a new battery and just replace that instead of the whole thing. The charging method is USB-C, which is pretty common nowadays, but I think this is where the system is lacking. You basically have this split cable that you plug into the wall, but then your transmitter and your receiver are just sort of dangling there, unsightly. The Lakato system that I keep referring to had a really cool feature in that the case was the charger. So you could plug that case into a charger, whatever, set it on a desk, and you could plug in your transmitter receiver into that and it would just sit there. You could close the top of the lid and it really looks nice and it's just sort of neat and compact. So I like that feature about the Lakato. Not really excited about the way this Xvive system charges. Or rather, I should say, I think it could be improved upon. The signal to noise ratio, or SNR, is 110 dB. The higher the better, but a lot of people say all you need is like 70 dB to record music. So 110 should be fine. And just for reference, the SNR of the Lakato system is 105 dB. The latency is 5 milliseconds, which, just for reference, a guitar plugged into an amplifier 3 feet away with a cable is 3 milliseconds, so 5 is really no issue at all. And again, for reference, the Lakato system has a 6.7 millisecond latency. The A58 has 6 wireless channels, so there's plenty to choose from, and you can let it choose the best channel for your situation. All you do is hold down the channel button on the receiver for 3 seconds, it'll select the best channel, and then you go back and manually match that channel on the transmitter. You can also select active or passive pickup mode by holding down the channel button on the transmitter for 3 seconds. Before we get into the last spec, I want to point out that Xvive has a really good reputation. Their U2 system has been around a long time. You've probably seen it before. They got a ton of colors, and it's been used with much success by a lot of guitarists and bassists. The last spec is the range, and I'm actually going to put this to the test myself. We're going to go outside for this one, and then we're going to come back, plug the guitar in, go through some riffs, comparing the plugged in signal with the cable versus the wireless system. I'll let you be the judge if there's any difference in the sound. A lot of times you'll get a brighter sound with the wireless system, and honestly I think that's kind of the case in the situation listening back to the comparisons, but again, I'll let you be the judge. All right, let's do the range test. So the setup I have going, I've got my Yamaha THR10 amp over there underneath the shelter. I'm gonna show you what that looks like from my perspective. I've measured out the distance from my amp to myself. Where I'm at is about 100 feet away. I've measured on Google Earth, so it should be pretty accurate. I'm gonna play the guitar at this distance and see if it cuts out. If the signal's good, I'm gonna walk back a little bit further that way and see when or if it cuts out. So I didn't hear it cut out very much, if at all. So I think the 100 feet is a good kind of conservative measurement. I think you're going to be safe at 100 feet. And I went probably back 25 to 50, maybe double the distance, probably not that much. But again, I think 100 feet is good. Now I do have line of sight to the receiver from the transmitter, which means there's nothing really in the way between me and the amp. I'm going to turn the camera this way and put this playground over here between me and the amp and see if it cuts out. So I'm pretty sure I heard some cutout right then. I'm not positive. I need to go back and check the video footage from the amp. But to be the safest, I would say keep things out of the line of sight between the transmitter and the receiver. That way you just don't run the risk of things getting in the way and your signal cutting out. I think that does it for this test. Hey, thanks for watching and sticking around to the end. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does honestly help. Thank you to Xvive for sending out this system for me to try. See you next time.
I might just make a move, baby. Alright, to get closer to you, baby.